What's going on? Welcome back to the Look Mum I'm Hustling podcast, episode 46. We're deep into January 2023 now.
I know the time has gone by so fast, but there's been some really interesting things in the news this week.
Yeah, we've got some interesting topics for all you small-time entrepreneurs to follow along for today's episode. First up, YouTube Shorts monetization. TikTok has been on the tip of everyone's tongue since 2020 and 2021. Everyone's been on there. Everyone loves that short form vertical video content, but now YouTube, they've been in the game for a little while, but now potential creators are going to get monetized. So we're going to jump into the terms and conditions of how the actual money can get broken down if you're a small-time creator.
Yeah, it's their time to shine with this short-form content.
It is. We're going to jump into some CES news. We did tech trends a couple of weeks ago for 2023, but CES is like the biggest industry event of the year, and we're going to jump into the weird and wonderful gadgets and tech stuff from CES 2023, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, let's see if the predicted trends were actually true when it comes to the stuff that people are actually going to be releasing.
Well, this is from like a roadshow type of event where they actually have the products on display and stuff. So we'll get into that. ChatGPT, the chatbot on everyone's lips right now, potentially going to be the biggest investment of the year. I think Microsoft are looking to buy them up. You've been doing a bit of research on that, and a lot of concerns about is the chatbot going to replace humans' ability to think and learn for themselves? Are we just going to rely on that to produce all the writing and all the content and even like code and stuff going into the future? So potentially scary times, potentially opportunistic times.
Yeah, there's like heaps mixed reviews, right? You've got like that fear aspect behind it, but you got people like super excited about just the potentials. So I think number 4 is coming out soon. So what's number 40 going to be like?
40, GPT 40. How many letters and numbers can you tack on before it becomes a tongue twister? It already is almost there. And then we're going to touch on credit card reliance for basic cost of living. So global recession fees are right around the corner. This kind of creating bad and poor spending habits for daily, everyday necessities. And this is from Fortune. Inflation has led to a credit card debt crisis as a staggering 35%. 35, massive number, of Americans carry balances month to month.
Yeah, it's a bit worrisome, right? Especially when it comes to necessities. Like you need those, you can't live without them. So if this is on the rise, like when's the rise going to stop?
Yeah, so I mean, just a reliance on credit cards in general just to pay for things like, a lot of the time it's emergency stuff, but also just basic cost of goods, living expenses, food, petrol, rent, that sort of thing. Everything's going up. So we're going to get into that. But first of all, we're going to get into YouTube Shorts monetization. Also, if you're listening, check us out on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
You can see the whole video version as well as on Spotify. Don't forget to subscribe and drop us a little like and comment.
Yes.
To support the show if you like. And also share it out to a friend. If you have a friend that's potentially looking at starting a side hustle, small-time entrepreneur, founder, someone with big hopes, big ambitions, share this episode out with them, share the show out with them, get them on board the Look Mum train. I think that's what we're going to call our we're going to call our followers from now on.
The Look Mum train.
We need a better one. You guys drop a comment for a better group name.
Yeah, community name for sure. We'll leave it up to the community to decide.
Leave it up to you guys.
Yeah.
So this is from TechCrunch. YouTube rolls out new partner program terms as Shorts revenue sharing begins on February the 1st.
That's just around the corner as well, not far away at all.
Yep. So YouTube will begin sharing ad revenue with Shorts creators on February 1st. So Shorts have been around for a little while now. We've done a couple, not many. They do get a lot of traction if they're sort of titled right.
Yeah, it's a good organic way to grow as well.
Yep. It's just a way to compete with that short-term vertical content like TikTok has. Instagram has their Reels now. In terms of short attention spans and stuff like that, this is YouTube's way of giving people a platform to post their stuff. But now there's going to be, this will be the best opportunity for people to monetize on that.
100%. It's a great incentive to switch over as well. So it'd be like, hey, we know you're like huge on TikTok or huge on Instagram Reels. Come over our way and we'll give you some money for your hard work. And
as we mentioned a bunch of times, like YouTube is the second largest search engine on the planet.
It's massive. It's huge.
Massive. So if you can find a way to make short vertical content under a minute, I mean, it's not that hard. You don't need to edit it like crazy or anything. A lot of it can just be raw.
Yeah.
This will be a good opportunity to get into the partner program and make potentially a little bit of money on the side. If you have a topic or a niche or a business you want to promote, great opportunity. A lot of people, since these shorts were released, probably, I want to say 12 or 18 months ago when you could start doing them, right? A lot of people, a lot of creators started doing stuff on secondary channels because they didn't want it to impact on their main channel.
Yes.
But now that YouTube has restructured its pages in terms of your account page, it's sort of segmented up into shorts, videos, and lives. So I guess the main thing is there's no need for a secondary channel unless you're like a gigantic channel. You don't want to impact your analytics and stuff on your main channel. But like I would just be throwing everything on the main channel now if you're a small-time creator like us.
No, 100%. There was all of these concerns like, if you had live streams or really long-form content, that it's going to diminish the value of your, your 10 to 15 to 20-minute videos. So people were, making separate channels or creating this whole separate space for them. But YouTube is like, hey, don't need to do that now.
We got you covered. We'll separate it out so it doesn't impact or impede on the other types of content. So the major change of YouTube's partner program will allow creators to earn money from ads that are viewed between shorts or between videos in the shorts feed. So creators can apply to the program if they meet a new shorts specific threshold of 1,000 subs and 10 million shorts views over 90 days. So if you're just making, I guess what you'd call full, like a long-term video now, which is basically more than a minute.
Yeah.
Previously, to get into the partnership program was 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours. Now it's 1,000 subs in terms of to get paid for shorts and 10 million shorts views in the last 3 months.
Right.
So it's a lot. But as you said just before, like there's in terms of the virality of creating short videos, like you've got a much better chance of getting 1 million views on a shorts than a longer form video.
100%. And if you don't know what shorts to do or any ideas for that short form content, if you have long form content, just chop it up.
Chop it up.
Chop it up and make 10 videos out of one. And that's, a nice little trick that you can do. And you can just do it literally from your phone as well. There's heaps of cheap or free apps out there that you can do it from your phone. So if you're worried that you can't make, 10 little short form videos, just chop up your long form.
Organic ones anyway. And we'll get into that. There are restrictions on what can get monetized. So we'll touch on that as well. But like the Gary Vee model is repurpose all your long form stuff into shorter stuff. And it seems like a lot, 10 million shorts views. But like you said, if you're chopping up into 10 or 100 pieces, the potential's there, but it's a lot to do. The 1,000 subs, I would say, would probably be almost harder than to get that 100 million views. I mean, we've done shorts for these pods before, and we have like 100 subscribers currently, 100-ish. Yeah. And some of the shorts that we did get, 1, 2, 3, 4,000 views, just purely because it's just hitting a new algorithm that YouTube's kind of pushing.
No, 100%. Yeah, because it's one of those things like when you open up the app for the first time, shorts is usually the first thing that pops up anyway. So you're unintentionally going to start going through that short form content. And that's what a lot of people are doing as well.
They're feeding it to you. So back to the article. As for how exactly the shorts revenue sharing will work, it's a bit complex due to music licensing. So everyone knows TikTok is initially started as like Musical.ly, which was like making dance videos to music, popular music songs. Yeah. Music songs, obviously.
Yeah, musically.
So there's the element of having music licensing and stuff. So when we make videos, we can use like Epidemic Sound or MusicBed to find copyright-free songs by paying a subscription. Yes. But the whole purpose or mentality towards shorts is to use like a popular song to like get your video viewed and snappy and I grab that attention essentially.
100%. Like if it's an on-trend song, something that's in the charts, like people are going to stop and listen for a little bit longer because like, oh, I know this.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a technical aspect they've got to work around in terms of getting the artists themselves paid for having the music featured, right?
Yes.
So each month revenue from the ads appearing between shorts will be added together and used to reward monetizing shorts creators and cover the cost of music licensing. So basically the problem with shorts is you can't just have a 1 minute short then a 20-second ad, 1 minute short, 20-second ad. So they kind of batch them together. So you'll watch 5, 6, 7 shorts in a row and then an ad will be featured.
Gotcha.
So it's not just like a 1-to-1 ratio. And then once that ad appears, that, I guess, grouping of shorts creators will get divvied up based on the amount of views and how much music and stuff is in them. So a portion of the total revenue will be allocated to the creator pool, which I just mentioned, based on views and music usage across all watched shorts. If a creator uploads a short without music, all of the revenue associated with its views go towards the creator pool. So if you're putting music in, a bit of the money's going to go to the artist. If you put in no music and it's just straight like a talking head type of segment.
Yeah. So they're almost putting like not a safety net, but they're just putting a little bit aside for that artist just in case they'd be like, yo, give me some money for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't think anyone's going to come chasing. It's all an automated system, but it's cool because then you can create content with some of your favorite songs and then the artist is getting paid as well. And if you're making a good quality content, like everyone's sort of winning. So
yeah,
it's really
well,
cool.
if you think about, this is going to be like a little bit about TikTok, but like Meghan Trainor has like that Gucci song, right? And she marketed it on TikTok and put it out there for free, right? And got people to make dances and all that kind of stuff. So even if you are a music artist, you'd want your song to blow up on someone's short because people hear it, it'll be viral, and then people are going to start wanting to hear that song a lot more. So it could have this good benefit as well.
Interesting. So the creator pool is allocated to creators. Obviously, YouTube explains that it will allocate revenue based on their share of total shorts views in the creator pool. So let's say there's 10 videos or 10 shorts in this creator pool. If you're getting the majority of the views within that, then you get the appropriate proportion, right? If a creator got 5% of the eligible views, they will be allocated 5%, as I just mentioned. And then once it's determined what percentage of views you got from that creator pool, then YouTube will take 55% and the creators will get 45% of the money. So there's a bit of a breakdown here. It's kind of confusing if you're not really part of the YouTube partner program already to understand how it breaks down. But essentially it's saying the more views you get, obviously the more money you're going to get. If you use music, you get less. And then it's a 45-55 split.
That makes total sense, right? So just say if you're in that grouping of 5 shorts or whatever it is, just say if it's like, just say if we put in a short and then just someone like Gary Vee put in a short and it was in the same pool, obviously he's going to get more views because they might skip past ours and look at his longer. So it sort of makes sense that they're going to get more of it because people are looking at it longer.
Yep. So it's obviously incentivized to, if you want to make money out of this method, then you're incentivized to use no music and get a lot of views. You can't really control the views, but you can control the input in terms of if you do or don't use music.
100%. And if you don't use music, that means it's more money for YouTube as well, right?
If you're getting to that 10 million views in 90 days, it's a high target for sure, but it's doable, and it's just understanding how the money's broken down because there's no other platform paying money or revenue to short-term or short-form vertical video content at the moment.
Just say if you release a short a day, so that's 90 shorts, right? Or if you do 2 a day, that's 180, and they just get a couple of thousand views.
You're asking me to do some math right now or something?
Potentially. Yeah, I was just like, how many shorts?
So you're saying if you did a short a day.
Yes.
So 10 million, 1, 2, 3, divided by 90 days.
Yes.
So you would need to 111K per video.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Per video per day.
Per day to get.
And then hopefully one of them goes crazy and gets 1 million or whatever.
That's a lot of shorts.
It's a lot of shorts.
Yeah.
And I think the shorts are like one of the main feeds on the TV on the app now as well. Like people are starting to consume short term on TV.
It was. I think I've got a bit of a stat here. So this was in April 27th, 2022. So the YouTube shorts were up to 30 billion daily views.
30 billion.
And that was in April last year.
Right. And as more people are aware that this incentive is now available, they're going to start shifting across. Because the thing with TikTok is a lot of big TikTokers end up wanting to come across to YouTube anyway because the community and your audience are more sticky. They stick around longer. They're more in tune with who you are. They're not just there for a quick scroll like TikTok. So it's better community building platform, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, people are way more invested in that individual on YouTube than they are in people on TikTok because it's just you get fed so many on TikTok, right? So you just keep scrolling through, so you don't even know. Like you scroll past before you can either hit that subscribe button or that like button. So yeah, it makes sense that people are going to watch more of that one creator's shorts rather than just some rando on TikTok.
And as I mentioned before, there's a lot of conspiracy going around in terms of TikTok and its validity and how much overseeing and app sharing and data sharing and stuff's going on behind the scenes. But YouTube's, it's going to be here to stay for a long time, I think.
Yeah, it ain't going anywhere.
And then, it's worth noting that non-original shorts are not eligible for revenue sharing. So this is an important caveat to consider.
Right.
So unedited clips from movies or TV shows. So if you're just ripping a straight minute clip, unedited and uploading it, like not eligible, right?
Gotcha.
Re-uploaded content from other creators on YouTube or another platform. So
Right.
basically it's saying you can't just copy and paste the exact same content. It has to have some sort of editing process or some sort of filter or animation or caption applied to differentiate it from being the exact same piece of content on another platform or from a movie or TV show.
So essentially they don't want another platform's watermark on their own content.
Yeah, and they just don't want it watered down, essentially, with just copying and pasting. Just because if you just put like a 1 minute clip from, I don't know, Wolf of Wall Street or something, and you get 10 million views, then like you've done nothing to earn that money, right?
Yeah, and there's heaps of creators out there that say, you know, make content native to that platform as well, because you're going to have better engagement and better retention.
So, pardon me. So exciting stuff. I know we, at the end of last year, were talking about doing shorts and stuff and chopping up these videos a bit. We haven't gotten around to it yet. Don't have the money to pay someone to do that. There's a lot of services now that are making a lot of money off that, especially for the larger creators. Their entire business, I forget what they were calling it. There's a new term now, and it's basically just reformatting long form into short-term content. For if you know what you're doing with like Adobe Premiere or Final Cut or something.
Oh, for sure.
All you need is like a template and you can copy and paste, add some captions and stuff, and you can just pump out shorts all day long.
Oh, 100%.
So there's a whole business model opening up now for that type of thing.
Yeah, I could see that. And like we've been attempting, or not attempting, but like we've scheduled in to do shorts, but like it's a time thing, right? Like, so we can't obviously afford anyone to do it for us. So we want to be able to do it ourselves. So I can really understand why there's going to be a need for people doing it for you, because low time people like us don't even have the time. Could you imagine those big companies or those big corporations, or I guess bigger YouTubers that would have even less time than we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would need someone to be able to do it for them. So there was a hole in the market. People have filled it.
Plenty of holes in the market. So that's an interesting thing if you want to make a bit of side money in this upcoming.
And you can edit?
And you can edit. I mean, a lot of it's just templates.
Yeah.
Like once you have that template down and you can copy and paste.
Yeah.
It's super easy. I mean, look at Gary Vee, Alex Hormozy, like they're all the same caption, the same style. They have the same dude just doing it.
Just need to make it snappy.
Yeah. All about hustling, right? What we love here on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of hustling and speaking of snappy, not so much, but we'll make the segue regardless. We're going to get into the weird and wonderful tech gadgets that were released or displayed at CES 2023 over the past week. So I think the ones we did a few weeks ago were kind of more ambitious, far-fetched ones. These are ones that are actually in development, right? These are the fun ones.
Yeah, well, those are ones were like just like small innovative ideas, maybe just smaller companies, but these ones are by the big honchos.
Big dogs.
The big dogs and stuff that actually want to get out there. So yeah, you have some ones that are not super exciting, that kind of like, oh, you know, it's a new TV or it's a new car.
Bigger TV, better car, more colourful car.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into the ones that we've, I guess, never really heard of or considered, but kind of makes sense in the upcoming 21st century that we're all going to be.
Yeah, the consumer needs, right? So it comes down to the consumer needs.
What they need, problem solving.
Yeah.
So all these articles are going to be from CNET. You can go over and check them out. Very reliable source. Obviously been around for ages. This is the wildest tech at CES. So the first interesting one we came across was Withings. So I think they make digital scales.
They make digital scales, heart rate monitors.
Yep. Withings or Withings? Probably Withings, right?
It's Withings, yeah. So they're medically approved, all that kind of stuff. So they make a lot of
health gadgets.
Yeah, health readers. So anything that you might have like high blood pressure. I think they make like a glucose stuff. I think they make diabetes stuff, all that kind of stuff. So just really things to track your health.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So this is an interesting new app and new gadget.
Not going to lie, I kind of laughed a little bit when I saw this.
You thought you wanted one then. Withings toilet sensor can read your pee. So basically, Withings is going several steps deeper within toilet sensors. So it's a little, it looks like a Google
like
Chrome.
A little Chrome. Yeah, it does. Like a little home hub like the
and just sits in your toilet like one of those little things we use, the deodorizer thing that hooks on the edge of the toilet seat.
Yeah.
It has one of those sitting in, and it will attaches to your toilet bowl and analyzes your urine each day.
So no longer need to go to the doctors and take a pee test. It'll do it for you.
Right, yeah. So Withings is honing in on some of these biomarkers with two different versions of its consumer device available in Europe in the first half of 2023, and then plans for US once FDA approval.
Do you think it could? I was about to say, do you think it could track if you're pregnant or not?
But that's what it's going to.
Yeah.
Have you read these? I swear you just read these articles, or you're a great guesser.
I'm a very good guesser.
We need to play charades or something more often.
Yeah, I'm a good deducer.
You're a little detective, are you?
Yeah, a little detective.
Little Sherlock over here. Sherlock Sarah. But basically, it will sit in the toilet and it will read, analyze your urine. So one cartridge, there's two designs. One cartridge is made for the U-scan, is meant to monitor nutrition and metabolic information by measuring ketone and vitamin C levels and testing your urine's pH when you flush the toilet. The other one is made for tracking menstrual cycles and surges in LH, luteinizing hormone, to tell you when ovulation's right around the corner, so on and so forth. And then the app is connected to it, and the app will give you daily readings, much like an Apple Watch would give you like daily data. So it's kind of interesting concept. It makes sense, and as you said, it saves you the need to go to the doctor. I wouldn't say it's going to be 100% reliable, but it might be a good indication of some underlying issues or whatever you got going on.
Well, it's all about people want that early indication, right? So just imagine if you have like bowel issues or things like that, it's going to be able to tell you early on and be like, hey, something's not leveling up, something's not right. Then you're able to book into a doctor earlier than what you normally would.
It won't do poop though.
Oh, it won't do poop? Not yet?
I guess probably not, right? It's the urine, like it's liquid. It's
2024, right?
2024
poop samples.
Poop samples. But even it has like a little nutrition and water. Does it say? I wonder if it tracks your water based on how clear your urine is.
Oh, it would have to, because it'd be able to tell how like acidic it is, right? Depending on how much like water you had in it.
I guess like how much sodium you're passing through and things like that. Be interesting though, because we take a lot of not a lot of supplements, but some supplements for just like general health, vitamin D and whatnot. And you hear a lot of doctors. Some people praise it, some people don't, and they say a lot of your supplements that you're taking are a waste of money and you excrete them. It's true for like the water-based or water-soluble vitamins. Not all of them, but sometimes. So I'd be interested to see if it could tell you if you're actually wasting money on supplements, if you're just peeing out. If you're like, I take however many micrograms of this every day, and it's like, oh, but you're excreting the same amount every day. Like it's kind of pointless.
Your body's not retaining any of it.
Interesting. So that's a little tech trend coming up. I'd pretty buy it if it was under like $100.
Yeah, I know, but then you'd have to clean it. I would have to clean it.
Or drink more water and you can have more sterile pee to clean it.
That's okay. Fair enough.
That's true.
Yeah,
but I flush multiple times a day.
I see this like being used in like retirement homes or things like that. Like I have a feeling like it does have like heaps of benefits, or in hospitals.
So the nurses can just do less work, right?
Yeah, or just say, because the people that take your blood, right? They're the ones that take the urine test. They'll be like, oh, just pee in this special toilet and we'll have a sample.
That's true. That's a good idea. And there was info about how often you have to replace the thing. I think it's once every 3 months or something.
Oh, that's a lot more frequent than I thought.
Yeah. More frequent. So like 2-3 times a year you replace it. It's not that bad.
Yeah, but like you'd want something that's like maybe like a yearly thing.
You just don't want to touch it. That's your main problem. You're grossed out by it. Moving on, we've got, what else have we got here? So LG have an answer for smelly feet. I used to have... There was a time when I used to have to use.
Oh, you did too.
No, not long before I met you. Back in like high school, when I was raging hormones and stuff like that, there was a.
You just had like heat sweaty feet and they smelled.
Oh, you had to get some like special powder. I was putting in your shoes and stuff. It's been a long time since I needed that.
Yeah.
I forget what it was called.
No, I tested. He doesn't have smelly feet.
You tested it, did you? Okay.
No, I test. He doesn't.
Okay. So yeah, LG have an answer for smelly feet. It's called the Stylish Shoe Care from LG. You slip your sneakers into the locker-like device. So it's like a little cube, like a Kallax IKEA cube with like a display on the front, like a glass window on the front. And through the magic of their True Steam patented nozzles, 37 minutes later, your shoes will be deodorized. And there's also a companion stylish shoe case that lets you show off your shoes once refreshed.
I think it's the companion style shoe case that people are going to love, because there's so many sneakerheads out there, right? You see all these images of them like in the nice little like glass or plastic cabinets, because people like to display their, $300,000, $400,000 shoes. So I wonder if it's just something that's going to help. How much? Well, they go to $300,000, $400,000
shoes.
Yeah, people buy $1,000 shoes.
Okay.
Limited edition.
Did you say 300 to 1,000 or 300,000?
I said 300 to 1,000.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I was like, I thought you said $300,000. There's
probably going to be $300,000 shoes out there.
If you got that, you're spending more than a little LG box, though.
No,
I would imagine. So it's a deodorizer, so it's I guess like makes them smell nice and everything, and then it has the.
You don't want your Balenciagas getting all smelly.
Balenciagas, your Louboutins.
Yeah.
The style box is cool because it is like a
Showcase.
A showcase, but it has like a smart light, so you can change the lighting, and it also has like a rotation, like a Lazy Susan in there as well.
Wow, that is so fancy.
A bit fancy, but if you're a sneakerhead and you have 100 pairs of shoes, and you want to display them instead of your toys or your gadgets or whatever you have, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
but it makes sense. But I think it's a very niche market. Deodorizing your shoes, I mean, it's for the extremely lazy people, right?
Yeah.
But if you're extremely lazy and you can afford that, you're pretty well off.
Yeah. You might not be so lazy and you've just worked hard. And
I think the Withings toilet thing is more of a broad scale.
It has a wider application.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Moving on, LG again. Party in your kitchen. So LG's new Mood Up fridge has color changing doors and a Bluetooth speaker to make kitchen the center of the action. So basically the front panel of the fridge can be, again, color adjusted, just like smart lights around the home. And it has music on there and stuff as well. So that's kind of interesting. Again, it's going to be like $4,000, so no one's really going to buy it, right?
But you no longer have to worry about your fridge matching all your other appliances. You just change the color.
You change the color to your mood lighting, or if you have other lighting around the kitchen area and around your table or whatever, you can.
And it makes sense because like people are spending more time in the kitchen, so you want it to have a nicer atmosphere and more of a woohoo party atmosphere.
Yeah, so there's not much to really talk about this other than there's 190,000 color combos, kind of whatever, just random features. The upper right panel becomes transparent with the nudge of a finger, allowing you to see what's inside without letting any cold air out. So there's similar fridges on the market. Like
Samsung has I think it's either Samsung or LG, but they've got a knock-knock one where you go and a change. You can
we
see
know what a knock-knock is.
Yeah.
Give us a demonstration. Yeah. Knock on wood. So you can see through the door so you don't let any cool air out and waste 20 kilojoules of energy.
Well, it's the old school thing of like I just had like this image of my brother, like he would always just open up the fridge and just like stare at it for like 5 minutes and then shut it and then walk away. Like it's the ultimate don't know what to eat sort of scenario.
Okay, if we're going to pick the one, I'm still sticking with the P device.
I think the P device is probably the best one.
P device, and then this one's I guess. Speaking of the pantry, the kitchen and the fridge, this is an interesting one. It kind of makes sense, but it kind of seems like it's a bit of a fad and it's not going to last long, right? Kitchen cutting board with built-in screen. So it's essentially like an iPad built into a chopping board. Yeah.
I'd say it'd be super helpful, like learning a recipe and stuff, but I just had the thought of like, what happens if you're like chopping up like juicy tomatoes or like, oranges and stuff? What happens if is it waterproof?
It's going to have to
has to be
a high degree of waterproofing. A $699 walnut cutting board shows off recipes and cooking classes. I guess that's the main thing, right? Is like following along a cooking class with a $39 a month subscription.
Oh.
So I'm going to take a big pass on this.
No, I thought.
But it's interesting to see what they're just going to cram screens into going forward.
Trying to cram screens because you used to be able to get like TV screens on your fridge and stuff. That's not so much anymore. But yeah, like the $39 a month, I thought it'd be YouTube or something like a normal iPad that you can get. But yeah.
It's I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one.
No, we thought this was cool yesterday, but
it's burnt out already, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So I do have a link here to the website. The company's called Block, BLOK.
Very imaginative.
Yeah. I mean, how is that brand not being taken already? It probably has. They probably just paid someone off for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have if you can watch on YouTube or Spotify here, the video, the animation of it in use. It is detachable. You can wash it and stuff like that.
Wait, so the thing at the top comes off?
Yeah, it would have to.
The screen at the top?
It would have to.
Yeah. Everyone's just waving at each other.
But I mean, I don't know why you can't just have a normal iPad propped up on
chopping some cucumbers.
on a bench or something.
But like how often are you looking straight down at a
Yeah, so it does detach. You look straight down when you don't want to chop your fingers off, right?
That's true. Then you put it back up when you want to store it.
Interesting, but I don't see it being in every household. So the things that I look for in this is like if I was an investor, what would be universally in every household? If I'm going to pick one out of all of them, it's going to be the P thing because it's a health prevention or health indication device.
Most people just use their phones anyway, to be honest.
For what, measuring the P?
No, for chopping, like looking at
that's
videos
what I'm saying.
to like.
They're just cramming two things together. It's not very innovative in my eyes anyway. Another one is charging your laptop while you pedal. So I think is it LG again? I don't know if it is LG. It's basically a stationary bike desk because a lot of entrepreneurs and hustlers that listen to this show might want to get their exercise and balance their mental health and their physical health alongside their hustle and their business, this is a way you can do both at the same time.
Yeah, I've seen, so because you know how you have the standing desk, right? I've seen the little treadmills that you can get, so little walking, they're like probably like less than a meter long.
With a desk on it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, it's just like it's a portable little treadmill and you can really move it anywhere in the house if you want to. So you have your standing desk, put it on there.
Oh, underneath here, yeah.
Yeah, so I can see that why like riding a bike could be interesting, but like what's something to make it different? Oh, let it charge the station itself. Yeah.
Again, not gonna lie, it seems kind of silly and goofy and doesn't look like the best. In terms of exercise, it's like, again, it's just joining two things in one without being too innovative. I can see it working, but it's not gonna stick around for long.
I'd rather something a little bit detachable, so maybe a little bike seat that you can pop under. But it was referencing a Black Mirror episode as well of like when they were using the bikes. Remember, you had to like pedal and get a certain amount of like energy, so you can then fuel your TV watching time.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Black Mirror, classic show. We need to go back and watch that. We also have new ways of screens on devices being implemented. So Samsung are working on the Flex Hybrid. So not only does it fold out, it can now slide out a further portion of the screen, which is pretty insane. And I can see the level of faulty devices just skyrocketing because of this.
Well, one of the, the tech trends was foldable tech, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is going to be even massive. So foldable tablets and stuff. So yeah, where it slides out so you get that little bit extra length, makes sense to say if you wanted to watch a bigger video. But usually with these ones there, they product test them, the machines that like fold over so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was I'll see if I can find it here. So there's, it basically folds in half, then it slides out the other end. And then there's these ones that fold multiple times, almost like origami of
like
tech.
A piece of paper.
Yes.
Interesting.
So it fold back on itself rather than just like a book open and close.
Gotcha.
So I'll see if I can make this up. So it's just, again, they're all like prototype type things, but it can fold back on itself. It's pretty crazy.
So it's 3 screens rather than just like the 2.
The one.
Yeah.
But obviously the device is super duper thick.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like the problem with like the Samsung Folds, right? They can be quite large, but they are slowly getting a bit slimmer. The biggest thing is like the hinge technology, right? Because it needs to be big enough that it's sustainable for multiple folds over time.
Yep.
So the smaller it is, the more flimsy it is, and the less time it's going to last. So I think once they improve maybe like metal alloys or things like that, then the folding devices will become thinner, but at the moment it's the hinge that's really holding them back. So they can get screens really thin and they can get like the microchips and stuff inside really thin.
Makes sense.
But the hinge itself, it still needs to be larger to be able to handle that amount of...
Or some sort of weird plastic that can like tolerate thousands and thousands of bands. Because the same as like any device that has a certain number of, like this MacBook, for example, it's only got, I think, 1,200 charges. There's like a certain number of times it can charge before it's like busted, right?
Yeah.
Same as one of those. Like there's going to be a limit to how many times the screen can get bent. I mean, they have all those robots and stuff in the factories that test it thousands of times a day and see what its actual breaking point will be.
Yes.
But yeah, you're right. The screens themselves are probably like the easiest part to manufacture. It's the hinging aspect that's probably the more crucial aspect to getting it to market.
Oh, 100%.
So lastly, some more sort of health tech stuff. This is kind of like what we're interested in is like the health realm rather than the device realm. I think we're going to have these MacBooks for a while. We're happy having a 10-year-old laptop at the moment, but we love Apple Watches and things like that. So smartwatches want to know if you're okay.
Yes.
And rightly so.
Yeah, no, because every now and then my watch will give me a notification being like, you've been sitting down for too long. Why don't you stand? Or, you know what, you should breathe. Your heart rate's elevated. So
how often do you do the breathing thing and the standing thing when it tells you to?
Breathing thing, no. Standing thing, not so much, because I actually stand a lot during my day job anyway. So it's only when I'm at home, it's, I stand up and says, good job, you stood.
Your legs still work. Congratulations.
Yeah. But it's kind of like if I've been laying in bed for a little bit longer than I should be like, hey, you're up, which is good. So just like that reaffirming to be like, it's good that you're moving around, so you should be moving around. But like the wearable tech isn't new. Like it's been around for ages, but I just see it getting like just smarter and smarter, right? So the heart rate monitor is a lot more better. Like it's just being able to level or be able to read more data about yourself.
And more accurately.
Yeah.
The accuracy is the main thing.
Yeah.
Same as like a scale. Like it's never going to give you like we have smart scales and it'll tell you your weight, obviously, but in terms of your body composition, your muscle mass, your bone density, all that stuff, they're never 100% accurate. So it's like,
It gives you a rough estimate.
how much accuracy can there be through like skin?
Yeah, on your wrist. Yeah.
So smartwatches to track heart rate, sleep quality, and blood oxygen levels abound. But Citizen, which is, I guess, the brand, takes a step further with its CZ smartwatch, which also measures fatigue and alertness levels.
Yes.
So that's the new additional thing, right? Like I actually enjoy tracking my sleep through the Apple Watch. It's not accurate. It's based on movement, which is kind of accurate in terms of deep sleep. You're moving, you're less restless.
Yes.
But now it can measure fatigue and alertness levels. So I believe it'll do like a questionnaire, I guess, when you set it up, based on what time of day it is, how fast you can respond to certain things. And then from there, it can like figure out how alert you are compared to like your baseline.
No, 100%.
Or if you're like just too fatigued.
Yeah. And Citizen, the brand, they usually just do like, it's a classic watch brand, right? So they don't usually branch out into the smart realm, but all these watches have been sort of slowly like dipping their toes into the smartwatch realm. So like, Fossil and all that kind of stuff are just slowly, and Diesel, just putting themselves out there, knowing that that's actually something that people want. But there's always the mix. Like people want a smartwatch, but they don't want it to look like a smartwatch.
Exactly. They want to retain their original customer base and get them to like buy new devices every so often.
Exactly.
They want to retain that classic look, but also improve the features in them. So I guess if you can make like a Rolex looking type fancy watch and then have all these smart implementations in there,
then it's everything you need on your wrist.
Unless you're like a vintage collector and want the traditional style, but
Old school.
It's blending the old and the new, which is what we love here. Speaking of blending old and new, ChatGPT.
Yes.
Blending technology that we all love with the new. It's a horrible segue, but I'm going to roll with it. ChatGPT, it's been on everyone's lips. Everybody look on the internet, someone's 100%. Talking about the chatbot and is it going to take over human creativity? Are we going to rely on it for our jobs and businesses and even communication? If you want to chat to one of your friends, you can just be like, hey, tell Jennifer that I wished her happy birthday and write it in 12 paragraphs and why I love her so much based on our previous relationship. And then you can just copy and paste it. 100%.
Like like I was saying in the intro, there's two ways to it. People are excited about what it can do. And then there's people that are fearful if it's going to really, there's a lot of writers and stuff out there. Is their jobs going to become redundant? But again, there's like also another like hole in the market getting filled of being like, oh, I've made this app that can, read if it's fake or not fake or made with AI.
All right. So I know a little bit about it. I think you've spent a bit more time on it. There's some people that are hyped on it, some people that aren't. The more I look into it, the more I realize it's been out for a couple of years now. And if it was going to destroy the planet, it probably would have done it by now.
Oh, 100%. Like it's up to number 3 now. Number 4 is getting launched soon. So it has been around for a while.
Yep.
Something my phone turned off, but I just need to access some facts for you.
Yeah. We love facts here on the show because we generally don't have many.
No, exactly. So OpenAI was originally funded through a combination of donations and sponsorships and grants, right?
So the company's owned by OpenAI, and I believe Elon Musk was one of the original founders.
100%.
So he's taken over slowly.
Exactly, yeah. But Microsoft was also an original founder as well, which was really interesting. So at the moment, Microsoft are planning on investing an extra $10 billion to the firm.
So they have been investors since the start.
Exactly.
And then they just want a larger piece of the pie.
100%.
Or they want a larger proportion, or they just want to, I guess they want a larger cut in the equity, right?
Like the goal is to have about 49% stake in the company.
Want.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is a huge stake, right? Okay. So what Microsoft are planning to do is update its Bing search engine. So earlier you were like, I don't even know what Bing is. Exactly.
I know. I've known as Bing since like Ask Jeeves and like Yahoo search engine, and Bing was always around.
Yes.
I didn't realize Microsoft owned them. I guess they just buy up all these small companies over time when they sort of fizzle out. So Microsoft owned Bing. I guess that's the starting point for my understanding.
Yes. Yeah. So Bing is.
It's still where is it ranked in the? I'm not going to bother searching, but I mean, it's probably not even in the top 5 in search engines anymore, right?
Yeah,
it's pretty down there.
Well, because you have Google, right? Like Google's like a noun in itself, right? You Google something.
Yep.
Yeah. Same as like Kleenex, all that kind of stuff. So like when you have a word associated with its actual activity, it's going to be hard to like overcome it.
Well, there you go. Bing is actually number 2 search engine.
Well,
so
there you
it
go.
is large. And I guess
Yeah.
Microsoft doing their job.
Mhm.
Yep. Sorry. Cut you off.
So what Microsoft are reporting planning to update its Bing search engine to include artificial intelligence from OpenAI's GPT chatbot, it's a mouthful, to allow it to answer search queries with complete sentences rather than providing a list of links. So instead of finding links to go to, it's going to give you all the answers you need.
It's going to pull from those links and then curate them.
Yeah. So this whole idea, and they're hoping to launch it in March, is to have an edge over Google.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's doing it like the problem with Google, from what I've like the comparison would be that with Google, you still have to select and find and then again curate the information based on what links you deem appropriate. Whereas ChatGPT is going to like skip all that stuff for you and select it on your behalf.
100%. And like the whole thing about, it's interesting that Google do have something like this going on in the background, but they're not open about it, like OpenAI is. Yeah. How very interesting with a name. Because something that Google are really well known for is their ad revenue and their ads, right? So imagine if you have a biased chatbot that will recommend you ad stuff first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just looking at. I read somewhere that the ChatGPT was like it was 5 days until it got to 1 million users, whereas some other platforms take 12 months or 2 years.
Time.
Yep.
Yeah. So Microsoft is currently employing OpenAI's cloud service in tools to let users create text code and imaginary straightforward instructions to train machine learning models using internet data. So Microsoft is already using some of it. So Microsoft and OpenAI have been working very, very closely together these last couple of years to slowly incorporate that tech into their apps, into their search engine, into their programs. And the company, or Microsoft, is also planning on using DALL-E as well, which is really interesting.
So we mentioned a couple of weeks ago the visual component of AI and Lensa. I think Lensa is owned by OpenAI as well.
I think so.
I know DALL-E is, but we mentioned potential erosion of the artist era with visual AI taking over, or basically repurposing original artwork from human artists.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, they're in that as well. It's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just a big concern, especially with these type of things, if it can produce, offensive or inaccurate information. So that's the biggest challenge when it comes to something like this, which ties into the next link that I have there about education and chatbots use in that as well. Because at the moment, so the headline for this one is chatbot appears, or ChatGPT appears to pass medical school exams. Educators are now rethinking assessments. Because of COVID, everything was done online, right? So with the program of ChatGPT, I can't even say it because it's so ChatGPT, I got it right the first time. People are using it to write exams and write essays and stuff for them.
Yeah.
If you wanted to scroll down a little bit on the article, for those that are just listening, we do have the YouTube version, just a reminder. I didn't go highlight crazy on this one, so don't worry too much. Oh, I didn't save my highlights.
Didn't save your highlights.
That's fine.
So you just have to wing this one. Yep. So ChatGPT, people are using it to essentially not. I guess that's not plagiarism. It's what would you call it?
It's like a aid, like almost like a.
It's more than an aid though. An aid is like a helping guide. This is like a complete replacement of brain capacity and like using your own capabilities.
Yeah. So one way they tested this was there was a university that wanted to see how far it could go. So it fed it heaps of like medical information, medical like textbooks and stuff. And then it made it run through like one of the medical exams. It takes about 3 years to learn and 3 years to study. And it got, I think, just over 50%. So it just got a passable result for it, which was really interesting.
I was listening to something yesterday about this when I was sort of cramming for the episode. You can essentially tell it to what grade you want, where it's not a low grade where you're going to flunk the class, but it's not so high that it's unrealistic.
No.
So you can just like coast through. But then the other aspect is if you can get ChatGPT. So to clarify what it does, it's basically a language learning system that takes all the input data from the internet and then more questions and more input that more millions of users insert into it, it can then just become smarter and more knowledgeable. And it's just a culmination of every website on earth, basically.
Yeah.
And then it will just, rather than giving you, like we said, like a Google answer, it'll provide exactly what you ask. If you wanted to write an essay in this person's voice or for a 5th grader or in French or whatever you want, it's going to like basically give you the answer to everything. But an interesting thing is if it's going to be able to produce exam results or essays and stuff, you can essentially employ it to then review and grade those reports as well. So then it makes like professors and stuff potentially not redundant, but then it's going to replace everything.
Yeah. Like that's a big fear of it, right? But there's, in this particular article, it sort of goes through like the pluses and minuses from it. So one big flaw that it still has is it still makes like huge like spelling mistakes. It still makes huge grammatical mistakes, like even puts like incorrect facts on it because it's getting fueled by all the information on the internet, including like places like Reddit and all that kind of stuff, right? So sometimes it's easy to tell when it's not like a real essay or done by a real person, because a lot of universities do employ people that go through and make sure things aren't copyrighted and stuff. So they're becoming a little bit more experts and be able to recognize the language that is used.
Yep.
But also there are some schools trying to ban it, and there's some people that says there's no point banning it because it's not going anywhere.
Well, there's no, like, it's not going to have the ability. I'm just thinking now from a pure technical aspect, there's billions of dollars going to get thrown at this thing over the next X amount of years. Universities can't compete with that level or speed of advancement in information. How is a Princeton or a Yale going to compete with something that's growing so fast and so rapidly to employ some new systems and new technology to then be able to judge or filter or analyze if it is from a chat GPT? So I think it's just going to outpace their ability to like monitor or police this.
Yeah. Well, there'll probably just be a new application or a new program out there, because they already have ones, like I was saying, for like copyright stuff that can scan your essay and be able to take info and stuff from it. So I'm sure it'll be able to scan and be like, this set of language or this set of words that's always used by a chatbot, this is plagiarism.
But the thing is that it's never the same answer, though. If you give it enough unique input, it's not going to be like, oh, this is plagiarized from ChatGPT, because it's going to give you, ChatGPT can give you different answers every time.
It can, yeah.
Depending on your input. But it can, I was listening also, it can actually code. So it can produce functioning code. If you want to like, build an app or something, and you know that you're using this type of coding language to run your application, you can essentially just be like, make the code, and it'll produce the code for you.
Yeah.
So not only will it like give you answers and stuff like that, it'll create code. So should we try and use it? I know the website is down a lot.
Because so many people
it's going to be too hard to do it in a mid-show, but yeah, it's constantly down a lot. But one of the fearful things is, I don't know if you want to do that one or not, is that GTP4 is right around the corner, the next iteration.
Yes. Well, and that's like just stepping back a little bit, like that's a bit of a big fear for things like ChatGPT coming around, is if it's going to do the work for you, are you just going to become lazy in your learning? A bit like using a calculator, right? Like for a while there, I forgot how to do times tables because I was just using a calculator.
For a while?
Yeah, I'm still really bad with math, but I rely on a calculator so much, right? So my brain doesn't think about doing those numbers naturally when it could, right? Yeah. So if ChatGPT was going to come around and, write an essay for you or write a poem for you or do that thing for you, you're just going to become lazy in your learning, lazy in your thought process, just, having someone do it for you.
Yeah. I guess the main thing is the creative human element. It seems like it can't be replaced by an AI or some sort of robotic machine learning type system.
Yeah.
But with enough inputs and enough different people's content or types of writing, it could form what it considers like pure human creativity and then replicate it. That's the whole thing about AI. Like, it seems like it can't replace things, but I think it's going to be able to replace creativity, writing screenplays for movies, all that sort of thing. But the crazy thing is it's not going anywhere.
No.
It seems like it's a bit of everyone's in a bit of turmoil since like Christmas time. It's been a big deal. Everyone's it's
like ramping up, right?
It's ramping up, but it's also been around for a while now. And I think I don't know if it's just like a fear element. There's nothing else in the news cycle to talk about. And like, we'll just talk about this until Donald Trump's running for president again. Then we'll shift focus to like a more controversial topic to talk about. But I feel like it would have done most of the damage by now if it was truly going to just unleash on the world.
Or people haven't discovered that people are using it.
But this is also the thing as well. We're saying, is it going to replace humans' creativity or their ability to like do essays or do their jobs or anything? How many people even care?
That's like a fair call.
Like 90% of people that are driving around the streets, going to their jobs in the supermarkets or in the malls or going to their jobs every day on the highway don't care and are not going to use it.
No.
So then like if it's only like 1 to 5% of people that actually need to use like an intelligent or like be intelligent in their daily life, it's a bit rude or harsh to say, but it's whatever. How many people are actually going to be using it to like make their life easier? And if they are, then like they're kind of taking the shortcut anyway. But I think the vast majority of people, it's not going to even hit their radar.
I think the most people that's going to be annoyed by it is probably employers, right? Like, I'm paying you to do a certain job, but you're taking the easy way out. So it's probably only going to be the employers that will get upset that their employees are being lazy or taking a shortcut and not doing the work themselves.
Unless their top line grows because the performance is better.
Yeah.
In which case you can like lay off staff.
Yeah, and just
take
be
the
like
expenses down and just run chat. But the interesting thing, it's all free. That's the most interesting part.
Yeah. Potentially it's going to be a paid for.
It's going to have to be.
It has to be.
You can't just keep giving this. Let this thing unleash on the world for free.
It has to be a paid for subscriction model soon, like to be able to use it.
You can't do that. Let that thing run
$12.99 per month, right? Same as Netflix. I don't know if that's the price.
So this is a post. It is credited to someone else, but Alex Hormozy has posted it on Twitter. Frightening visual. The first dot. We'll put the visual up here on Spotify and YouTube. The first dot is the amount of data ChatGPT was trained on. The second is what ChatGPT 4 is trained on. So ChatGPT 3 has 175 billion, I guess, data points or data points. And then ChatGPT 4 has 100 trillion. So 175 billion to 100 trillion.
Yeah.
Ginormous data set. It can write a 60,000 word book with a single prompt.
That's crazy because the more data it has, the more accurate it's going to be over time.
And the credit there is from Resemble AI if you want to do your own research. So crazy times.
Yes.
Crazy times ahead. Speaking of crazy times, cost of living going up incredibly fast.
I just want it to stop.
We all want it to stop. I think we're going to be in for a more painful year. So this is from Fortune. Inflation has led to a credit card debt crisis as a staggering 35% of Americans carry balances month to month. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, if you listen to this show, hopefully you're doing your own thing. You're doing a little bit of a side hustle.
Yes.
You think about your money every day and you sort of monitor where it goes in and out. If not, it's time to do that before things get worse. Rising prices have led the Fed to make a slew of interest rate increases over the past year in an effort to tame the red-hot inflation rate. So everyone knows inflation's up 6, 7, 8% compared to it's normally like floating at 1 or 2 sort of area. Consumers have had to make changes to their spending habits to cover their basic costs. And many are resorting to credit cards to pay their week-to-week bills.
Yeah, like I remember as a young 20-year-old living week-to-week, right? Paycheck to paycheck. So, and I even had that issue of, using my credit card to get like I think I had to get glasses. So I had to like put it on the credit card because I didn't have any savings. Like I can see how easy it can be just to use that credit card, that easy accessible money, whether it's like, Zip Pay, Afterpay, all those kind of ones. It is so easy to go down that route. Yeah.
And in full transparency, we do still live week to week. We just use it with our income as opposed to the credit card, which is the issue here, right? A new report by Bankrate found that 35% of US adults carry credit card debt month to month. So they're not paying off their debts every month like you kind of want to do, right? You want to, if you use it for something like glasses, you want to kind of pay it off before that interest comes through.
Yes.
And the 35% has been up from 29% last year. So an extra 6% of US adults 12 months later are relying on it to get their basic needs met. 43% of US adults that carry balances don't know their interest rates.
What?
they don't know the interest rate. They don't know what they're paying on the interest. They just
get it and just use it.
Yeah, so almost half.
Yeah.
Which could lead to a vicious debt spiral if not managed carefully. So now's the time to get your finances in order,
Yes,
especially if you're like running up credit cards and you're paying interest for no reason. You're not even aware how much the interest is.
No. Whether it's a house, whether it's like your credit card, whether it's your savings account, know how much interest is on all of those. Like it's going to have such a huge benefit. You just need that awareness around it because you need to be able to know exactly where your money is going.
And I think the problem is now that it's moving at such a fast rate that it's changing every month. Back 12 months ago, 2-3 years ago, you could be like, okay, like it's my percentage hasn't really changed in 6 or 12 months, but now it's every quarter it's jumping up. So you got to be aware of this sort of stuff. Currently, the average credit card interest rate is 20.04%.
That's massive.
20% interest on a credit card on a new TV, or hopefully not a new TV, but like things that actually matter. So it says here, many of the credit card debts are from emergency expenses. So in America, obviously, healthcare is very expensive. Break your arm, you're going to be out of pocket for some time.
I was about to say you'd be out of an arm and a leg, which is literally.
Another cost of living is their home or their car.
Yeah.
And then even simpler is day-to-day expenses like food and beverages. Mm-hmm. Overusing your credit cards can lead to steep interest rates. As we said, 20% is pretty insane, and it will lower your credit score because you're not really
paying it off.
You're not, paying down that credit card bill. And if you're not aware of like the percentage, then you're for sure not too worried about what your credit score is going to be.
Well, it's going to be a huge spiral, right? Because the more that you spend, the more interest you're going to have to pay back, and it just like becomes more and more and more until you just can't even meet those monthly repayments.
Yeah, we had credit cards for a short period, and I was it's easy to say we're pretty debt free now, or we are debt free, but like even just like getting an iMac or something, 18 months interest free, you still end up paying some interest somewhere. You got to know your finances pretty well.
Well, there's again, we're not financial experts. There's one thing with those interest free cards that you can get, like those promotional periods, those minimum, well, it's the monthly repayments are actually minimum monthly repayments.
Yes.
It's not actually the amount that you should be paying per month to pay it off before that interest free period ends. Like just those banks just require a minimum payment, but it's still not enough to meet that, you still won't have it paid off by the end of the 18 months. So you got to do the math yourself. You're right. Okay, this is a $2,000 purchase. I need to pay this per month to get it off before that 18 months.
Yeah, again, we're clarifying we're not financial advisors. We're not giving any advice other than to say do your research and the minimum monthly repayment, you want to ideally be paying more than that.
Yeah.
So you don't get yourself into some crisis times.
And just talking from like our own previous experience with the cards and stuff, sometimes, and you just always look at the terms and conditions first, but sometimes they'll have no fees if you do pay extra as well.
So, do your due diligence.
Yes, 100%.
Alternatives to high interest credit cards. So rather than like reaching for the credit card, you can boost your emergency fund. Going to be hard to do with everything going up, but it's definitely, you want to try and have 3 to 6 months of regular expenses here, as it says in the Fortune article, which is a common theme across a lot of personal finance gurus and books and stuff like that.
Like Barefoot Investor and those ones.
What's sort of more applicable to us and what we're trying to promote to our audience is looking for ways to increase your income by taking on a side hustle or asking for a raise at work. So find some small hustle. We use eBay. We have a couple of other little things on the side, but if you need to sell something fast, eBay is the place to go. They don't sponsor the show, but we do use them 8 to 10 hours a day. So we'd be gladly let you guys jump on board.
Yeah. Or if you're crafty, you can make little arts and crafts that, if you're quite into the know, like what's the consumers are after or what's like techie or trendy or whatever, and you're like very crafty, you can make stuff and sell it on Etsy.
Yep.
Like there's heaps of different areas out there that you can make that little bit of extra income come through just to help, pay those bills or just to take off that little bit of pressure week to week, knowing that you have a bit extra to spend.
And then the final point for an alternative to using credit cards is for looking for ways to trim your expenses. So cutting down on cost of goods and groceries, which brings us into the final point. Food price inflation up 15 to 20% UK, Australia, and the US last 12 months. Food has gone bonkers in the last 12 months.
It has. Like we're pretty good budgeters and we had like a food budget, but we had to increase it because we realized that we're going a bit over each week with the food budget. So it's pretty full on, just how much like something that you actually literally need to survive is continually rising.
Yep. So up 10 to 12%, and they reckon it's going to increase a couple of more percent this year. So food prices expected to remain high. This is from the telegraph.com. Latest food price outlook for the US Department of Agriculture projects all food prices would increase 3.5 to 4.5 or 3.5 to 4.5% further this year, and estimated it went up about 10% last year. 20-year average rate of food inflation hovered at nearly 2%. Prior to COVID and the war in Ukraine. So now it used to be like 2% each year would go up. It's gone up 10% due to COVID, supply chains, and then Ukraine, which I believe produces a lot of potash, which is required for like growing a lot of fruit and vegetables and that sort of thing. So there's so many different factors going on. There's another article here about the UK, which I believe is up about 12 or 13%.
Massive.
I've accessed the article too many times and I need to subscribe now. I will not do that because we're trying to
save money.
And
budget. Yes.
But for those here listening in Australia, things are just the same basically. The 12 months leading up to September 2022, so from September 2021 to 2022, fruit and vegetables rose 16.2%, dairy products 12%, and bread and cereals up 10%. So pretty much everything is up 10%. And mid last year in 2022, supermarket giants Woolworths and Coles introduced price freezes on certain items to help reduce the strain on grocery costs. So they said, we know that the cost of living is going to go up. We know the cost of producing these foods and transport and stuff into our stores is going to cost more, but we're going to put a freeze on any price increases for a 6 or 12 month time frame, and that actually ends start of February, I believe. So
wow, so it would be things on, I'm guessing, like milk, bread.
It's your staples, yeah. And I think they are saying they're going to push back a little bit further to help the budget. So yeah, things are going to get worse, and realistically, they've technically been helping us by putting a freeze on these price increases.
Yeah.
But it could get a lot worse if the US is saying it's going to go up 3 to 5%, and ours has been on freeze. It's going to go up even more. So yeah. I guess, like you said, we always have budgeted, not always, but for the last 3, 4, 5 years, budgeted our food money.
Yeah.
The money we put towards our food every week. So now we either have to buy cheaper things, eat less, or re-budget and take money away from other things in life.
Yeah. You don't want to...
Yeah, things are going to get tight.
No, you don't want to... like when it comes to your nutrition and health, you don't really want to,
compromise.
Limit that. Exactly. That's the good word. Thank you. You want to make sure you're looking after yourself first. So just, try and do that side hustle. Try and do... make that little bit extra income, really look at your finances, cut down your debt, like just really...
With everything going up in cost of living, it's much easier it's easy for me to say, but it's easier to make a little bit extra money than to save more, especially when inflation's so high and continually growing until it gets under control and back down to sort of that 2% mark. I think a side hustle is like the only way forward. And that's what we'll be here for every week, talking about side hustles and making money and getting your shit together, basically.
Yeah, no, we'll be always talking about that.
Always talking about it. We'll be back next week, episode 47. Thank you guys for listening. Subscribe, like, comment, bye.